house set low on the red clay above the Tyger. Shingles the color of old pine, lantern in the window. Folks called it Pruitt's ferry house. Wagons rattled over the planks by day. At night, crickets sang and the whippoorwills kept count. On a dry June evening, with the sky clean and the river sliding black, a stone tickled the clapboards like a finger on a coffin lid. Then another, then a handful. Elias Pruitt stepped into the yard with 2 hands from the mill road and his boarder, a bookish law clerk named Josiah Cade. They checked the hedges. No boys. No drifter with gravel in his fist. Still, the stones came, soft arcs from nowhere. Pat on the door, patter on the shutters, skitter in the dust. "Who's there?" Elias called. The river didn't answer. A smooth river rock rolled to his boot like something set it down on purpose. Inside, his daughter Ruth folded her hands. His wife Martha fed the fire. A rake hopped off its peg and clanged across the floorboards. Up here, the hills are small and the grudges are large. Elias had a boundary fight brewing with Temperance Mahaffey, a widow with a sharp tongue and a longer memory. Her people came down from the mountain. Somebody once said a woman in that line had faced a witch accuser back in North Carolina. You know how talk grows legs. Neighbors whispered, that widow, her kin, curse. Others said boys or tricks. Elias locked his door and read by the lamplight while stones tapped the shutters like dry hail. Days turned into weeks. The thrower stayed invisible. Pebbles gave way to fist-sized rocks. The cast iron skillet slid from one end of the table to the other as a careful hand guided it. Coals jumped in the hearth. One afternoon, the big iron key lifted off its peg and rang bright against the floor. Witnesses come to watch. They saw what Elias saw. Stones sailing like lazy birds from no place a man could point to. They struck with spite and landed gentle, as if some rule forbid them to break what they hit. Churchmen muttered Satan, men of sense humbug, then walked home quick along the wagon road. Worst of it came on Sunday. Lanterns burned late while the Tyger dropped with the moon. Roof rattled like musket fire, window panes hummed in their frames. Blue pitcher slid off the shelf and dropped without shattering, like a careful spirit set it down at the last blink. Elias ran out with Cade and 3 neighbors. The air smelled of sap and iron. No footprints in the dust, no shape running from the fence line. A stone thumped at Elias's toe, warm as a hand. They cussed, they prayed, they waited till the rooster crowed on the happy land. The river took the night in with it, and the stones went still. Widow Mahaffey said she had beans to pick and no time for devils. "Take your line and choke on it," she told Elias, and slammed her door. The deacons said fast and pray. The magistrates said keep the peace or you'll see the inside of a cell. Mothers told their young'uns to mind their verses and steer clear of Pruitt's yard. Wagoners took the long loop around and crossed upstream, blessing themselves twice as they passed a pile of rocks by the ferry steps. Some called it a poltergeist, some called it judgment. The clerk Cade dug up a Greek word from a thin little book. Lithobolia, stone-throwing devil. Trouble with a timetable. When September cooled the kudzu, it quieted. No confession, no boy caught with pockets full of creek rock, only a yard seeded with stones, smooth as eggs and mean as memory. Years later, the law clerk sat down in Greenville and put ink to paper. He wrote plain what he had seen. A summer on the Tyger when rocks fell from the clear sky and iron moved like it had somewhere to be. He wrote of the widow and the quarrel, and the nights a house of sober people stood eye to eye with something that kept its name to itself. He swore it exact. He sent it out for printing so strangers could argue it to pieces, and the stones could sit quietly by while they did. If you find yourself near an old ferry road at dusk, where pine shadows lean long and the river whispers against its own banks, walk slow. To one side is water, to the other is broom straw, and in the middle strip of red earth that knows how to hold a secret. Pick up one round stone, let it warm your palm, and close your eyes. You may feel the faintest breath, like someone standing behind you. You may hear a tap on wood. If you do, remember this: not every ghost shows a face. Some come as proof you can weigh, proof that lands gentle and leaves heavy. That's how upstate folks wrote it down, plain as river rock and twice as stubborn.